Today, I thought we could chat about things that we wish we had known or done in the past, or in the lack of a better word, regret. Specifically for me, I will be referring to my teen years. Now, these are not things that I actually go around regretting or, thinking about and wishing that life looked different, but simply if I could have met the 15 or 16 or even 21-year-old me, these are some of the things that I would tell her, and I will split it into different categories just to make it easier to follow along. Career and education. Don't have limiting beliefs about yourself. So I've always dreamt big, but it was only as I got older that I had the epiphany that dreams don't actually have to just be dreams. And so prior to that, anything is possible attitude that I have right now, I made a lot of pretty important decisions based on those limiting beliefs. Now, knowing what I know now, I would not have let that prevent me from pursuing the things that I wanted to pursue. Nothing can stop the man with the right mental attitude from achieving his goal, and nothing on earth can help the man with the wrong mental attitude. I personally think that one of the things, if not the main thing, that prevents us from fulfilling our potential is our own self-limiting beliefs. Now, those self-limiting beliefs may have been the result of something else, like it might have been inflicted on us by, friends or parents who didn't take us seriously or who are close-minded. But still, when we limit ourselves by believing things like, oh, I can't because, or I'm powerless, or I'm not fill in the blank enough. We start to behave in accordance with those beliefs, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So yeah, I would have recognized that I did not quite believe in myself, and I would have addressed it, tried to figure out where it came from, and asked myself if those limits were actually real and valid. Educate yourself more. I'm happy I went to university, but that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about self-education, general education, reading more books and articles and actually reflecting on what I read. But also, speaking of school, I do wish that my attitude had been different. So instead of viewing school as just another stepping stone in life, as this mandatory thing that I need to get through in order to get from point A to point B, I wish I would have realized that a lot of what was taught was actually interesting and useful. And I like this quote by John Dewey that goes, "Education is not preparation for life, it is life itself." Seek out mentors other than your parents. So I don't know exactly how or who that would have gone about, but in hindsight, I do think that having people who help guide and encourage and support you can be incredibly valuable. And I think in perhaps being more open with teachers and with other adults around, I could have found that. So even just something like talking to the school therapist more, or if I went to a friend's house and their mom made a delicious meal, ask for the recipe for the sauce. Just being more unafraid to ask questions and to let that inner curiosity bloom. You never know what you may learn, and some of what you learn may stick with you till much later in life, which is really cool. Lifestyle and health. Stick to a sport. So I tried a variety of sports, gymnastics, basketball, swimming, but I did not stick with any of it. And I think the reason for why I quit is what kind of makes it sting a little bit even to this day. So with gymnastics, for example, I was younger than everyone else, and there were a couple girls who would make fun of me for being the youngest, which eventually made me not want to go to class. And for swimming, I felt uncomfortable in a swimsuit, and I've already talked about body image and insecurities in another video that you can watch if you would like to, and I just did not want to face that multiple times a week. Now, I don't know that those were the sole reasons for me quitting, but I do know that they were strong contributing factors. So why do I wish this? Well, a few reasons. Mainly because I would just like to be more athletic, and I also think that it would have been a lot of fun. And I do think that playing sports is good for, personal growth. Stick to an instrument. So I played the keyboard pretty good actually, but I stopped because I lost interest and because I guess I just didn't quite see the point in being good at an instrument. Now, obviously, it's not too late by any means to learn an instrument, but it would have been cool to have had that been part of, those years of my life. And who knows, maybe I could have played in a band or something. Relationships and social life. Pick your friends more carefully and distance yourself from some of them sooner rather than later. I think especially when we are in our, school years, many of our friends are friends out of convenience. We may play the same sports or take the same classes or whatever it might be, but just because it's convenient to be friends with someone, it doesn't necessarily mean that you should be friends with them. If someone treats you poorly or makes you feel bad about yourself or simply isn't the type of person that you would like to associate with, the both of you are probably better off not being friends, even if that may cause some inconvenience, either in the friend group or for you personally. Like, for instance, you may be afraid of ending up alone, which obviously is not a good thing either, but there are always other people that you can befriend. And also, just to clarify, you can be friendly with someone without actually having to be friends with them. Be your authentic self to attract the right people. So I think one common reason for why we sometimes attract the wrong people into our lives is because we're not being our authentic selves, which sounds so cliche, but it does make a lot of sense. If we have a facade, we will be attracting people who are drawn to that facade, when in reality, that's not even actually who we are. So for instance, if you pretend to be someone who likes partying and drinking and, going out late, then you will attract people who also like doing those things. When in reality, you may be someone who would rather join a book club and, talk about horses or something. But the people who actually do like those things, books and horses, are not going to be drawn to you or even notice you, because to them, you are the party person, even though you're really not. So the irony is that the more you care about fitting in, the less you fit in. At least that's been my experience. Personal life. Be kinder. Now, I think I was a good kid, but of course there were times when I would be rude or have an attitude like many other teens and just humans in general. And, this sounds weird, but when you're in those awkward years of your life, you don't really see your teachers as people. Actually, you don't see most people as people. Mom is mom. Like, that's what she is. And the math teacher is the math teacher. Like, we all know how awkward it feels when you see a teacher outside of school when you're a kid. It's like, I don't know, you just almost think that they spend the night in school or something. But so we may not really realize that they're actually full-blown people with things going on outside of the label that you know them by. Mom is not this superhuman person who has everything figured out. She has a million other things going on besides being your mom. So if I could share a word of encouragement to my younger self and to anyone who may need to hear it, it would be to be more considerate and just be more kind to people, whether that is a teacher or a parent or a fellow student. And also, if someone is being rude or mean, don't laugh along, don't encourage that behavior. It's not funny, it's not cool. Mean is never cool. Journal. As you may know, I've been journaling for many, many years, like 17 plus years, but there have definitely been, gaps during that time, and I wish there hadn't been. There are so many benefits of journaling, even if you only write 1 or 2 sentences a day, and I just cannot stress that enough. Now, if you would like to share, what are some things that you would like to tell your younger self? And do you have any actual regrets from the past? And if you are a teenager watching this, what is it like? I know that being a teenager now is quite different from when I was a teen, mainly because of social media and everything that has brought. So what concerns do you have? That would be very interesting to know. All right, thank you all so much for showing up here today. Let's chat in the comment section, and as always, I will see you there.